What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Aris.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Let's get it. I need to just, give a deep dive into my cruise thoughts. I'm nervous, like I feel like I'm not like a very scared person of much or anything, but amusement park rides, other people driving the car, riding in airplanes, riding on a boat, that shit has me terrified. I will never like just stuff like that. I don't know. It's just machinery, I guess.
Yeah, I'll say transportation, machinery. That's a bad combo.
But like I'll go into a little story before we get into the cruise. The little Lupo planes at the
No.
Sweet Corn Festival, the ones that a plane would go this way and they go upside down. They go opposite ways.
Okay,
They
yeah, I know what you're talking about, I
uh
think.
So I was in eighth grade. Wearing my football jersey out to the Sweet Corn Festival. You got a game day Sunday. I'm gonna put on for the city. I'm gonna go do my thing. And I'm not a big ride person. I'm not a big roller coaster. I've never been on the zipper, shit like that. Um, and I rode the Lupo planes in eighth grade. I'm turning in from the boy into the man. And I cried. I cried on the Lupo planes at 13 years old, nearly 14. So that
Okay,
was
that's tough.
of confidence hit there, but no, I don't know. It's just machinery. It just shit like that just scares me. I don't know what it is. Uh,
Man, at least
but yeah,
you got that comeback when you were able to put on for the city on Sunday. Like, you might have cried, but then you were just
yeah.
putting on. So that evens
I
out. I
went
do
on.
have a cry story as well, though, man. Like, I was in third grade, so it's a little bit different. But in third
Yeah.
grade, I rode the zipper for the first time, and I cried because me, it was in the same cart, me, my boy Nathan, and then his brother Aaron, who was like 4 years older than us. So he was probably in like seventh grade or eighth grade, and we're in third grade, and we're in it. And so, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a ride that goes around in a circle, and then while you're in the circle, it will spin. Like, it's a pretty like free moving cart, and then it's kind of Ferris wheel like, and like it's going around a circle and loading up, and then you'll go up a
Quicker.
little bit
Yeah.
and it'll load up the next person, and whatever. And so you could be stuck at the top while it's either getting unloaded or loading up. And I think we were like the last people to get on. So I was like, oh my God, thank God we don't have to just like sit at the top. Like, we're at least moving
Um,
the whole time. I'm not thinking of it. I had a blast while it was moving around. Oh my God, it was so fun. We're doing a little flip every now and then, not too much, but we're just moving around. It's a good time. Then when it's time to get off, we got stuck at the very top for so long, and his
uh,
brother just kept shaking it, and I was like, "Oh my God, like, we're gonna
bro,
die."
I
And then I got off, and I was like crying, like laughing, but also like hysterically like crying. It was just not a good scene, but
I
at least I was only in third grade.
yeah, I was in like even like people rocking the cart. Like I've almost gotten like fist fights with my friends, like rocking the cart on the Ferris wheel. Like I don't know. Okay. And then last little this is a little last little amusement park thing here. Sweet Corn Festival, whatever. I was probably in third or fourth grade. I was with Izzy Layden and then his sister, the same age. It was like some spinning ride. I feel like you were there. I don't know if I'm just tweaking or what, or some of your friends possibly. But I get off that fucking ride and just start puking everywhere.
I either remember that or remember hearing about
I
that.
puked all over the ride, puked all over in a trash can. Fucking Izzy's mom's like rubbing my back. I'm just fucking just throwing up everywhere. So
That's tough. I've never thrown up after a ride, any roller coaster, none of that. So
I
thank
think it
God.
was
But
the
man,
like 10 ice cream cones I ate that day from the fucking I don't know who does it, but those ice
the
cream cones are
Rotary,
fire. Yeah.
you're putting in
Um,
work.
but yeah, so I mean, this cruise, I've never done it. I feel like I'm gonna be honest, I feel like cruises are more like white folk things,
They
So
are.
I don't mean that to be right. I got a quarter white in me, so that's the quarter that's taking me taking
Yeah.
me on this cruise. So, um, I'm super nervous though, but like there's buffet shit like that all the time. I guess going there's a casino, so I'll be a little degenerate. So we'll see what happens. I know they got like basketball courts too, I think, and shit like that. So
That'd be
I
pretty
might
dope.
I might win a cruise fucking basketball tournament or something. I might fuck around and do it. So
You
I'm
really
bringing the
might.
PGs with me. I'm staying strapped. I know they got like a mini golf shit like that, so there's like a lot of stuff to do on it. I just don't know how adjusted I'm gonna get on sea stuff like that. So maybe I'll get seasick. I've never been to the sea, so
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be, kind of a cool experience. It feels like there's a lot to do. I don't know, like, what the movement of the ship feels like. I
mhm.
mean, it's a big thing, so probably not, like, much. It's probably not that noticeable. But yeah, gotta be a lot of stuff to do. It seems like a, kinda cool thing. The basketball court, I've always wondered about that, like, if you got a broke jumper,
Mhm.
like, that thing could easily go in the water, I feel like. I don't know, it depends, I guess, where it's at on the ship, but you clink that thing, I think you could be
Yeah, I
swimming.
mean, I don't got the best jump shot, so I'm gonna be using my interior moves, try and get in the
Your
paint.
layup package, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna try and do. Cause yeah, I'm not gonna take any risk of that basically. Um, but yeah, I mean, I could I could really be like Jack from Titanic. Like I really might not make it back, so this really could be my last episode. So
Yeah, you're never
there.
gonna hear Utopia.
No,
No, you'll
coincidence.
hear Utopia,
Yeah, I'll hear it,
but
but I
you'll
won't.
never
I
give your
won't.
thoughts on it.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess. So, I'm excited. We'll see.
Fire. Definitely gonna be dope. And I guess for me, I mean, the this will come out on Monday. What day is it? Monday the 10th.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Monday the 7th. And on the 4th, I'm seeing Kendrick Lamar at Lollapalooza. So I'm very excited. You just shared a couple
Mhm.
Snapchat memories from when you saw Kendrick, right? From Rolling Loud.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm very excited that I'll be able to have also seen him. And I mean, that's a legend. So it's going to be a big one. One of
Mhm.
the, highest people on my list that I have not seen before. So very excited. I have all the songs he's been playing in a playlist. I got some lyrics. I feel like, I know all of the songs. I
That
know the
was.
choruses,
Uh,
but the lyrics, I gotta do better.
yeah, I felt like Mr. Morale and the Big. It was pretty fresh whenever Rolling Loud last year.
Hmm.
Um, Probably only a month or so old, a month or two old. So yeah, I wasn't too dialed in. My only complaint was he didn't play swimming pools. I feel like
Wow. That's
yeah,
surprising.
it was a weird one, but I very good. Obviously, the next time we talk about it on the episode, we will be talking about the performance and how it was. So I'm super excited for you. That is one of the top people I've seen. I won't go too much like who else is up there with him, but because we're
Yeah, save
saving
that for
that.
another day.
That's coming.
That's gonna
Yeah,
be big. That's
but
probably coming up, but yeah, that'll
he
be
is
big.
worth the hype. So
Okay, fire. You're making me tweak now. I gotta look at the set list that I've had to see if swimming pools is on it. I feel like it has to be. There's no way he doesn't do swimming pools. Like that's
I
shocking,
thought so
especially at a
too.
festival.
Yeah, I thought
Especially
so
at a
too.
festival. Let's see. He does do swimming pools, according to the set list. So I got that to look forward to. I mean, I like swimming pools, but it's not like a make or break for me. Like there's so many songs I like more, so
Yeah,
whatever.
that
We'll
was
see
just
how
like
it
one of the
goes.
first Kendrick tracks for me, so it's kind of a little disappointing, but
Same.
it's still great performance nonetheless. So I'm excited for you. So yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, we just don't have much of an intro anymore. We don't have anything crazy to talk about with NBA. So NFL season's starting back up soon. We'll give you fantasy football updates, shit like that. So
Oh yeah. Ready to get back into that. But yeah, I guess we just get into the bulk of today's episode. Uh, this is another one of the vacation series. If you see we're wearing the same clothes, if you're watching on YouTube, we just recorded last week's episode.
Tom
We're
Cactus
back.
Jack sent you.
Elijah got the Cactus Jack McDonald's collab on. That's hard. It's Utopia season, so he's got to be dressed right. But yeah, we're coming through with these shorter episodes, just kind of just talking about some random things before we get back in the swing of things next week after you listen to this. Um, but yeah, like 2 weeks ago, when you're listening to this, it was a week ago for us. We did just, 3 albums in our rotation. There could be any point, just 3 albums we want to talk about. Kind of doing the same thing today, just 3 albums each. But we're going to be talking about the best albums of the 2020s so far. We've got albums for 2020, 2021, and 2022. So 3 albums each. 2023, we're only halfway through the year. But if you want to see what albums we're loving this year, go back a couple episodes. We put out our best of 2023 so far, top 5 albums each. And then we'll be coming through in December with our actual favorite album of the year, and then the rest of our top
Well,
10.
I'll
So stay
I'm
tuned.
Babe I'm Babe Ruth here. I'm calling my shot. Utopia is my favorite album of the year already. So you
Ooh,
guys have heard Utopia at this point. So we haven't, but I'm saying it now. Album of the year.
I kind of want to call my shot.
All right. I mean, fuck
I'm gonna
it.
call it. I'm gonna call it.
The Great
It's just
Bambino up to bat.
it's a little bit tough because I don't know if it's officially gonna come out. I'm going Sampha. If he drops,
Ooh.
got album of the year. We got Spirit
Okay.
2.0, and that was
Yeah.
life changing. So I need an album from him, and it seems like it's gonna come. And I think if it does, we got a masterpiece. So I'm gonna call my shot with Sampha's album, whatever it'll be called. That has potential.
There we go. These could be like some fucking freezing cold takes. You guys could bring these back at the end of the year and be like, laugh at us. So dangerous game we're playing here, but
Mm-hmm.
let's get into it. Let's kick it off. I'll have you start off with your 2020 album.
Okay. 2020, it seems like not that long ago. Life was very different. When this album dropped, life was just starting to get weird. It was just the beginning of COVID. The title track came out on my birthday right before COVID hit in February. So, I got a special attachment to that song because it was my birthday present from my favorite artist, After Hours by The Weekend. This to me has potential to maybe be the album of the 2020s already, and it came out 2 months into the decade. This is such a crazy project. It's The Weeknd's return to, I think, kind of pleasing everybody. I think there was some time where he was pleasing the pop fans. Before that, he was pleasing, the more, I don't want to say
The fans who
underground
call him
because
Abel.
exactly, but the day one fans, I guess we'll say,
Yeah.
the people then rocking with him in the trilogy era.
Mhm.
Then, you had Beauty Behind the Madness, you had Starboy, and those are good projects, but they're not, I don't think, even comparable to what he was doing on the trilogy mixtapes, because those to me are just wow, crazy. I've talked about this before, but After Hours is really what made me like come back. Like I was always bumping the trilogy stuff, and I liked songs from the newer popular albums, but After Hours was the one where I was like, he really did it. Like he was able to please everybody. And I think that's such a tough thing to do. I'm sure there are some people, so I shouldn't say everybody, but
Mhm.
basically everybody. Everybody
Yeah.
who
A
like
very
can sit there and enjoy music. Like it's such a good album. It does everything you want in a weekend project. It's so like cohesive, such a good example of like world building, and man, it's just so good. How you feeling about that pick?
it's phenomenal. Phenomenal project. I mean, like you said, it pleases everybody. I feel like it does take some years for these artists to find the correct, like, I mean, correct. What's the word?
The
Mix of
formula, yeah.
um. So I mean that's art in itself there. So and I feel like you really did it. And then the Super Bowl performance the same year this had came out, it was crazy. The Weeknd did his thing. It's I'm not as big of a The Weeknd fan, but I definitely have respect and would put this right up there. Like you said, this is going to be one that we're talking about for best album of the 2020s. So
Mm-hmm. Crazy. Um, yeah, and I think I'll just close by saying I think it's one of the best like albums to listen to like front to back.
mhm.
Like to me, it's just like I'm gonna listen to After Hours all the way
Yeah,
through. It's just so good. So it's just one of those I can always go to, and it's good to have that in the rotation. I'm excited to see what you got though, because I'm thinking you went something different. Give me a
yeah.
little bit about what you picked here. Talk to me about what life was like when you went with this, and
So
let me know.
this is one, it didn't get its full appreciation for me at the time. My music taste, it's grown a little bit, or it's kind of grown into this, I guess. I've got Circles by Mac Miller.
Ooh, okay.
The Such a great, even at the time, I wasn't bumping swimming like that too crazy. Some tracks here and there, but I feel like this past 2022 is where I had, my full just went back into Mac Miller and just finally was able to appreciate, like this is just a beautiful album. Swimming and then Circles, I mean, companion albums there, of course. So
Mm-hmm.
just beautiful stuff. Obviously, Mac's last album that he was able to record and stuff. So, um, This is one that I find bumping nearly every day. Right now, Woods is just literally just always playing. I try and listen to it once a day. And then I mean it just has such the same vibe of swimming that it's like if I'm not bumping swimming that day, I'm bumping some of circles. So um but damn, yeah, no, it was crazy. Like if you would have told me in 2020 this would have been my favorite album of the year, I would have called you crazy. But that's just obviously, as you grow up, or just your music taste changes. It's like everything in life,
Hmm.
it all changes. You just adapt to it. So
For
um
sure.
yeah.
What do you think you would have said in 2020?
Oh man, I was I was going through, what was I bumping at that time? Heaven or Hell, Don Tolliver was a good one.
Mm,
The Goat by Polo G. That is like that's crazy that I'm even talking about it in best albums of 2020. But I still bump that to this day, So I think he really did his thing there. What else do we got off here? Dark Lane Demos, Wanna. Those are some others in consideration.
mm.
I think ultimately though, I would have chose My Turn by Lil Baby, which that's still in contention there.
It's not bad.
Um, and then the last one I want to give my honorable mention to, it's not My Turn by Lil Baby. It is Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon by Pop Smoke. That would have been my
Ooh.
favorite album of that year. So that's just such a great compilation of songs. I wouldn't really consider it too much of an album. So it's kind of like Nanda. It kind of gives you that vibe. It's very long, but the tracks that hit, they fucking hit. So
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, that's definitely some different ones. I think there's a lot of good ones. 2020 is a very strong year to me. I think it's
yeah,
underrated. We go to some of these other years, but I mean, you got Alfredo from Freddie
yeah, that's what I was
Gibbs.
gonna say. That was
That's
one I
so
could
good.
one I didn't Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs, another one I didn't enjoy at the time, but now I find myself bumping that once a week at least. So
Hmm. And I mean, it was a tough year because I mean, people weren't dropping as much. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was definitely a bit of a hiatus because of everything that was going on, but it was a very good year. I would also be very close to picking King Cruel's album. I loved King Cruel's album that year. And then 2020 gave West Side Gun Pray for Paris. And I love Pray for Paris.
hardest
So,
cover out.
mhm. So I think there's a lot of good ones. Yeah. It might have been Man Alive. I might have gone Man Alive by King Cruel too. I think that might be like number two. I love that album a lot.
Uh-huh.
And it's one that I probably wouldn't have picked in 2020. So that's like my Mac Miller,
Uh-huh.
King Cruel,
Yeah.
somebody it's grown on me. Like that was the first album I heard from him. And I remember listening to it, I liked it, but King Cruel to me, like I just listen to him so much now. Um,
Uh,
so yeah.
for my, I'll put in my last little tidbit here. The man on Second Avenue, Papa Ernie, his favorite rap album of 2020 is Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. I think because that is the only one we've listened to together. I don't foresee him listening to any other rap albums. So
That's
I
a
just,
good one. If he's listening to one,
yeah,
rock with Pop Smoke. He's
I think
paying
it
his
was,
respect.
yep, it was that year, possibly the year after. I think maybe 2021 that me and him had rode to the golf course, or, it's near Lafayette. So about a 45 minute hour drive there. And yeah, we listened to the whole Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. So
Fire. That's crazy. All right, let's get in 2021. I'll kick it off here because I gotta be honest, I kind of gave it away 2 episodes ago at this point when I was talking about albums in rotation. I talked about Call Me If You Get Lost, and I was like, this might be the best rap album of the 2020 so far. And I'll hold up to that. I might take After Hours. I think it's very comparable, but I think it's different. Apples and oranges, really. And yeah, Call Me If You Get Lost to me, so good. I won't go on too long because if you want to hear all my thoughts, you can go back a couple episodes. Um, but I love Call Me If You Get Lost. Like front to back, that's another great one. Like I'm always listening to Call Me If You Get Lost throughout. Same thing with After Hours. And I don't know, maybe that's like my thing. Like the mark of a really good album is like you want to listen to it all the way through. I think there's some where it's like, okay, individual songs are good enough to make it album of the year or your favorite album from that year or whatever. But these two at least, just complete bodies of work, really no skips, I guess. Um, yeah, just great. And Tyler's in his bag on this one. He creates a total world of Calling If You Get Lost. All the videos have a certain aesthetic. The album cover has a certain aesthetic. And then he came through with the deluxe. So yeah, I mean, we got blessed with that this year. but we're sticking with the original version. I mean, there's so many great songs on that. Hot Wind Blows, I'm always going back to. Sweet, I Thought You Wanted to Dance, Corso, Sir Baudelaire. I was listening to Sir Baudelaire the other day. Oh, so good. And, I just posted on Instagram today, it's going to be 2 weeks ago at this point, but my caption was the only thing we can travel this time, which is like what DJ Drama says at the beginning of Safari. So it's just one of those albums where lines are just like embedded in my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, gotta show my love anytime we talk about that year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tyler the Creator's someone I'm always gonna, have respect for. It's just not my taste, of course. But I asked myself in 3 years, is call me if I get call me if you get lost. Is that gonna be, my new circle? So there's always that potential there. I mean, that just not something I've ever, personally vibed out with too much. But I mean, I obviously respect the body of work. I've listened to it, I've heard tracks off it, and they're not bad tracks. It's just not something, I'm bumping every day. So
Mhm. For sure.
obviously we'll always respect the pick though.
For sure. I think you got to see Tyler live. I think that adds something to it. And I
Uh-huh.
think that adds a lot of why I love it so much. I saw him at Lollapalooza, like, I think it came out in like June, so like a month or so after it released, and that just really did it for me.
Uh-huh.
Like seeing him come through in like the fits, just there's a boat on the stage he was rapping on, it was moving crazy. So
It's
I think that adds to it. I think seeing an artist live really adds to the whole
mhm,
experience, the whole enjoyment for it. So I think, if you see Tyler live, you'd be like, okay, like I'm really rocking with this now. And
mhm.
I don't know though. I mean, if you're not really
It's
vibing with the music, maybe not, but
I'll never say never. But I mean, to add on to your point there, artists live, we are gonna get into our top live artists at some point. So I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. It's just something we're just I mean, just so many great moments from all this stuff, that we've been to. So we just had to give that quick little episode plug. It's gonna be a shorter episode, so let's just throw that in.
oh yeah.
Um, for my 2021 pick, we got the Melodic Blue by Baby Keem.
Ooh, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, this is one where I knew, it, I'm not the biggest CLB fan. Growing on me a little bit more rather than at the time. And then Donda, I don't really consider Donda an album, but it just the amount of tracks on there that are just great. I've spoken on it so many times,
Mhm.
but yeah, the Melodic Blue, it feels like the most whole album for me from this year. Um, my full introduction to Baby Keem. I'd heard a little bit of Die for My Bitch here and there. Orange showed us stuff like that, but this is where I finally just fucking was bumping Baby Keem every day. Family Ties when that had came out, like I don't think
That's
if yeah, I don't think if Family Ties had came out, we wouldn't have this podcast. Like I could give it its credit there. Like that song, just like we just kind of 2021 was just a great year for us because we just kind of like got really close, I guess, or we
yeah.
hoop every day, like yeah, we kick it a lot. So I mean,
Family
you're
Ties
always
really did it.
yeah. So I mean, just had to show it the love there. So yeah, the Melodic Blue is still a great project. Weird enough with your pick there, we got the deluxe for the Melodic Blue this year as well. Or was that the end of last
That was
year?
the end of last year, but yeah,
Okay, pretty
still
much
in the
yeah,
past year, yeah.
yeah. So
So I like that pick a lot. While we were like going through these, I pulled up my list for like my albums of the year in my notes. I still have them. I have so many notes, but my 2021 albums of the year. Number one, Calling If You Get Lost. Number two, The Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. So I can't be mad at that at all. There's so many of these other ones though that I do love that I was like, I could go with these. Vince Staples, self-titled, so good. LP by JPEG Mafia, and then Goldie James with Bo Jackson. A lot of good ones. 2021, very good year. And I do want to say something. You're talking about that was when you're getting to Baby Keem, was the Melodic Blue, all that. You kind of listened to After My Bitch a little bit. A couple episodes ago, I was talking about Freddie Gibbs in the rotation. I was like, he's sneakily like one of my top artists.
uh,
And that was true. He's number 5, but I knew there was somebody random at number 3, and it's Baby Keem is my number 3 most listened to artist of all time.
two phone Baby Keem, that's crazy. All
Random.
time is nuts, but he's quietly, I mean, putting together a good discography. He's got Die for My Bitch and the Melodic Blue. Obviously, maybe we're getting an album this year. We'll see what happens. But let's move on to 2022. Just such a fucking phenomenal year. Like it was hard. It's hard to grasp, like how good of a year we got for doing the podcast. For that was our first year, so
Yeah, it was
we're kind of
really
figuring
good.
that out now.
Yeah, we are definitely blessed with a great year there. Um, I think it's tough when I'm looking at these. There's so many good ones. When we did our albums of the year, I went with The Forever Story by JID. I think I have to stick with that. I think it's such a great album. Like it is so good. I don't go back to it as a whole as much as I do After Hours or Call Me If You Get Lost. But I think I go back to it, just as much, if not more, than any other album in consideration. But there's so many other good ones here, and so many others that have like grown on me from where I originally put them. Like I didn't have Love for Rent by Smino in my top 10. That's up there in consideration. Ramona Park Broke My Heart easily could be it, and It's Almost Dry could almost be it, and um and also Dawn FM. I think those are like the couple that I'm like, okay, that could definitely be it. But I really just think the Forever Story is like so good, and I still listen to so many songs off of it. Like I'm always gonna listen to Radar. I'm always gonna listen to uh Cody Blue 31. There's just some that are never gonna leave the rotation. And then there's always some that like I appreciate more and more just randomly when I hear them. Like Stars is one that right now I'm just loving that I wouldn't have shown as much love at the end of the year last year. But yeah, just a great album. And I think that's a mark of a great album is like when you find something new to love each time. And I definitely do
Yeah,
that with The Forever Story.
definitely. Still one I'm not bumping too crazy, but it's good. I mean, it's great. It's just one of those ones. It's great music. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but this year, I mean, just insane. I mean, at the time, I went with It's Almost Dry, and it's still just fucking neck and neck between Ramona Park Broke My Heart and It's Almost Dry. Like, I'm going with Ramona Park though. Like,
I
just
love
that
it.
album is just so fucking good. Like, it's hard to put into words like how good that album is. And it's one that anytime I talk about it, I just want to talk. East Point Prayer, The Beach, the blues. Like, it is just so well put together. It's so well versed as well. There's just so many different vibes. A song for, I mean, a lot of different occasions. It's such a great cruise album. East Point Prayer played today, and I was just like, just fucking phenomenal. Like he's
Too
just so
good.
slow and smooth into it, and it's just phenomenal stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very tough. I don't know. Like I'm even changing my mind right now, where I'd almost think It's Almost Dry. Like those are neck and neck for me. But they still got Mr. Morale in that year. A few good things. You Can't Kill Me by 070 Shake could easily be
Mm-hmm.
up there.
That's a grow
Just
for me
such a
too. Another one that is more now
yeah,
than then.
such a great year in music there. So, but I'm gonna give Vince his flowers here. We're gonna go with Ramona Park.
Okay. That's a great pick. I give it some love as well. Can't be mad at that. The Beach. I've listened to that a lot very recently. Great track. I mean, there's just so many good ones. I mean, When Sparks Fly is like maybe my favorite track of the year. That and
Uh,
like Cody Blue. There's a couple that are like up there, but
it's
When Sparks Fly is just
mhm.
fantastic. Paper Cuts, Player Ways, DJ Quick, Free the Homies.
Ooh, Free the Homies
So
is
many
that
good
was
ones.
yeah. It's like just like you said about fucking The Forever Story. It's you find these albums, they to be in contention, these top tier top dogs. You got to find like a new song you appreciate nearly like every week or every few weeks. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's just one I haven't heard this shit in a minute. Like okay, this is fucking hitting. So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I mean, just these top dogs, it's just a different level. It's like Astroworld. That's one of my favorite albums ever because I just have this newfound appreciation each time I listen to it. So obviously, you guys are going to be here for the rest of the ride. You're going to hear 2023, 24, 25, 26. So I'm just really, this is going to be one we're going to have to come back to in 5 years and see what our picks were. So this is
Yeah.
why I love that we do this, because we're going to have this to come back to in 5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
um,
And and I mean, I love like giving our thoughts now because they change over time so much that like I think all mine actually have been the same as they have been since then,
yeah.
but they very likely could change. Like
Uh,
there's just so many that just go with the flow.
mhm.
There could be an album that I didn't even hear from 2022 that could be my favorite in 3 years. I'd be like, oh yeah, that was my favorite 2022. But it's tough if you're saying like my favorite from 2022 or my favorite of 2022, because like if I wasn't bumping it, then to feel wrong to say that year, but whatever, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, if we're still doing the podcast, hopefully we are at the end of the decade, that list, that'll be crazy. So we'll see. That's a
Stay
long ways
tuned.
away
Stay
though.
tuned. Yeah, 7 years
Sub
down the
now.
road. So
Remember this moment.
yeah. No, yeah, no, it's just great to talk about this shit. That's why we do this. So I love being able to just like reflect on like the past, or just bring in like 2021. Me and Big Cuzzo started kicking it, started hooping together every night. So
Love.
just it's good to reminisce on shit like that. So this is super fun episode. Shorter one, of course. Isn't it? The timer's up there at the top. I don't remember when we started, but no, a little bit shorter, but this is one I'm glad we got to do, because I wouldn't be mad at doing this every year, kind of revising our picks or seeing what happens. So
Yeah. I think definitely, especially if they do change, like I'm like, I'm really not going with Config Get Lost anymore. I'm going with LP by JPEG Mafia or something. Like I think when there's changes, it's definitely good to talk about them. But I think that's I will say that's like not a knock on any of these albums. Like these albums are always great, but it's just like we love talking about these. We love finding new appreciation for these albums. So yeah, definitely will be exciting when we do have some albums that knock them off. And I welcome it. I hope I find an album that I love more than these, because I love them so much. Like
I hope a 16 seed comes out and fucking knocks out whoever's at the top. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think this about wraps it up for this week. Obviously, next time you hear from us, we'll have Utopia thoughts, Kendrick Lamar review. We got a lot coming. So just stay tuned. I mean, thank you guys for sticking with us, and it's been the vacation series has been fun so far. So
yep, and this is the last edition of it. So hopefully you guys don't hate us. Hopefully you guys enjoy these short episodes. We got through them, and we'll be back with the normal style songs of the week, a topic, and then the news, talking about all these releases. I've been slacking on the releases, I'm gonna be honest, so I'm gonna have to do some listening before the next real live episode, but not really live, but on time episode. So stay tuned. We'll be back with all these thoughts. We got a lot of drops coming, and a lot of drops have happened since we last gave our thoughts. So stay tuned, but we'll be back. And yeah, can't wait to talk about Utopia. Cannot wait to hear it. We're
Utopia
48 hours away from it, but I'm ready. So
a little bit less than that, actually. I mean, if you really consider, it's about 9 o'clock, so we're about 27 hours away, or no, 20.
Yeah,
no, 26 hours away. Yeah,
I've really lost track of time. That's what vacation does to you, but whatever. Here we are. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Hope you guys enjoyed today. We'll see you guys next Monday.